Hello and welcome to Gorgeous George Bar. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of our signature cocktails, the Anotonio Hinoki, named for the Japanese pro wrestler and sort of like OG MMA icon as well, Anotonio Inoki. This one is a little play on words because we're using Hinoki wood in this cocktail. So we're going to be using it twice, once in our Scotch whiskey that's infused with Hinoki wood, and we're also going to smoke the cocktail with Hinoki wood as well. So we're going to start off by chilling our glass and get a little bit of ice ready for making the cocktail. And then step one, we're going to get our smoke. Step two, step three, whichever step we're at. So a lot of people use a smoking gun for things like this. I despise smoking guns. They constantly break, and also I find they over smoke things. Like they pump so much in that you end up with like drinks tasting like a used ashtray. So this, I just burn a little bit and get just a little bit of smoke. We don't want too much. Now we've just tempered our ice a little bit. The reason I'm doing this, putting the ice in first, basically if we put the ice in, put the drink straight in, like the ingredients straight in, we're gonna have way too much dilution. So we just wanna take that like outer layer of the ice off and have it nice and tempered. And then we've got 3 dashes of Angostura bitters. Then 15 mils of Bianco Vermouth. So I use Oscar 697. It's probably my favorite Vermouth actually. Essentially, Bianco Vermouth is not as sweet as Rosso. The standard sweet vermouth you have in Negroni, things like that. Not as dry as like dry vermouth. It's still a sweetened vermouth, but it doesn't have caramel. So it's just like a sort of in between. I really like the aromatics. I really like that sort of like herbal flavor that you get, especially from the Oscar. Up next, we've got 50 mils or half a shot of coffee bean infused white cacao. So the way we make this here, we put about 500 mils of Joseph Cartron white cacao, and we infuse with only like 10 to 15 coffee beans, and that sort of gives it a really nice sort of like a roundness to the cacao. It kind of takes away some of that sweetness, gives a little bit of tannin, a little bit of bitterness. We do it via sous vide, so we put coffee beans and cacao in at about 68 degrees for 1 to 2 hours. But if you want to do this at home, you don't have a sous vide, just throw 10-15 coffee beans in a bottle of white cacao, leave it overnight, it'll work. Up next, we have Hinoki wood infused blended scotch. And we're putting in 30 mils or 1 shot. The way we infuse this is we get a masu. So these are sake cups. They're made of untreated Hinoki wood or Japanese cypress, and we just literally shave some off, maybe like about 10 sort of slices, and let it sit in some whiskey overnight. That's enough. It infuses very quickly. These are designed so that essentially you put a sake cup in it, you pour the sake, it overflows, and it infuses a little bit. So the idea is that little bit left of the sake at the end has a bit of a Hinoki wood flavor, but we're instead infusing it into some blended scotch. And then last, some extra smokiness to the drink, because it is quite a smoky drink. It's sort of like a smoky Japanese twist on a Rob Roy. We've got some peated Isla single malt. And that just gives like that real sort of, the Scotch smoke that people expect when they get a smoky drink, the sort that you want in like a penicillin or something like that. It's got a sort of like briny, salty, smoky flavor. Whereas the Hinoki wood almost gives more of a chocolatey smoke, which is why we use the white cacao. It has a very unique sort of sweetness, which you don't get from other woods. If you don't eat barbecue, I would sort of compare it to maple wood. And then we're just gonna stir this around, maybe like 5-10 seconds, not too long. Again, if we leave it like in with the smoke for too long, it'll taste a little bit like a used ashtray. But for just 5-10 seconds, you get a sort of like nice sweet smoke. And then we're ready to go. This drink has been described as like drinking a sexy Japanese sauna. I don't really know how that's possible, but probably the best way to describe it.